Hello and welcome back. My name is India and I happen to read a lot, and welcome to February. Well, I'm planning on releasing this, I don't know, February 1st or February 2nd, but welcome to February. Today we're going to be talking about all the books that I want to tackle this February. I normally try to theme each month with an underlying theme. It doesn't overtake everything that I want to do, but I do like to, especially when we get to February, I like try to focus on romance a little bit more, but that is not happening this February. This is going to be an eclectic mix, a variety of genres, debuts, well-established authors, a bit of manga. It's going to be a very, very eclectic mix. January was incredible. I read so many great books in January. I don't think I've seen that many 5 stars in my life. More on that in the January wrap-up. But yeah, a lot of 5 stars. So we'll see if we can repeat that in February. I know my tastes very, very well, so I'm hoping that we can repeat that. But yeah, let's just jump in. This doesn't really need much of an intro. My February TBR. So first up on the list is A Sign of Affection by Sue Morrishita. Now, if those of you have seen any of my other videos, you will recognize A Sign of Affection. A Sign of Affection is a romance manga series. I read the first volume, well, this is the 3-in-1 volume. We know how I feel about that. I read the first 3-in-1 volume last year, absolutely fucking loved it. And now it is time for the sequel. So this continues on where the last book left off. For those of you who don't know this story, it follows Yuki and Itsuomi. They are a blossoming couple. Yuki is deaf and Itsuomi is a polyglot, and it starts off with Yuki teaching Itsuomi sign language so they can learn more about each other and, feel a bit of connection. What's more connecting than learning another language, And they ended up, I believe, at the end of the volume becoming a couple, and we're just following them on their romantic journey. The things I really liked about this is I really liked the inclusion of sign language in this volume. I also really liked how we were focusing on characters that aren't like 16. They're in university. I can't remember. I think Yuki might be 20. And Itsuomi 23 or something. So slightly older characters. As a 25-year-old myself, I don't always want to read romances with 16-year-olds. I'm not really interested. I'm also not really interested in a secondary school setting. So having a university setting and in general just adults feels a lot better. It's a bit more refreshing for me. And yeah, the focus more is just their blossoming relationship, the classic ups and downs when you're in the early stages of a relationship. It's really funny. I love the art style. I'm very, very excited to read the rest of this series. Next up is one that I've been literally on the edge of my seat waiting to read. This is Holy Boy. This is by Lee Hee-joo and is a psychological thriller targeting Sesong fans. This is I believe in my 26 books I want to read in 2026, and it follows 4 girls who kidnap their favorite K-pop idol and the kind of psychological breakdown that happens when these 4 girls have kind of realized what they have done. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. As a big K-pop fan, I really am interested in getting kind of the Korean perspective, because I'm very much a K-pop fan with a Western view that follows only Western fans' content and things like that. So it's quite interesting to get a Korean person's point of view on Sesang fans and kind of the phenomenon that is the K-pop idol industry, if you know what I mean. So I'm really, really looking forward to this one. It's definitely one that I'll probably dive in very quickly. I might even start this today. I'll see how I feel. But yes, I'm very, very excited to read this. And this also comes out 5th of March, because for those of you who aren't aware, when I read my new releases, I like to read my new releases the month before they actually come out, so I can be more prepared. Talking about that, another new release I've got is Tara Menon's Underwater. This comes out 12th of March this year. It's a very, very short book. I was sent this by the publisher. It is definitely more of a literary fiction. For those of you who have been on my channel a lot, you know that the kind of books that I read tend to be sci-fi, fantasy, thrillers, or manga. If you're ever going to get kind of any contemporary setting, it tends to be a manga, or a romance, or a thriller. I read loads of genre fiction. I don't read much literary fiction. But every once in a while, especially at the beginning of the year, I'm always like, oh, let's read a little bit of literary fiction, But first up is Underwater. This is by Tara Menon. So this follows Marissa. Marissa moves to a small Thai island on the Andaman Sea, and it's there that we meet her soon-to-be best friend Ariel, and we learn about their blossoming friendship. But it focuses more of the destruction and the fallout of the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami that hits a bunch of islands, and it follows her 8 years after that terrible, terrible tragedy. and how she is coping with the grief, with the loss, with the PTSD of that experience, while also reminiscing of her time on the island with her best friend Ariel. So I have a feeling it's going to wreck me emotionally. I'm quite intrigued. It's very, very short, and if you can see, the margins are quite big, which makes me think that actually it probably could be about that size in general. I don't read many literary fictions. I try not to read many books that make me sad. So every once in a while I do dip back into sad fiction, or fiction that will make me feel a little bit more sad. And I am intrigued to see how I feel about this. It's very much out of my comfort zone, but yeah, I'm intrigued to see how I feel about this. Then we have another new release. This is When I Was Death by Alexis Henderson. This also comes out in March. So at this point, Alexis Henderson has brought out, this will be her 4th book. I've yet to read An Academy for Liars, which is in my 26 for 26. But this is Alexis Henderson's YA debut. And I don't really read that much YA anymore. I think I've just shifted my reading from YA. There are a couple of authors that I return back to, like Neil Shusterman, Christelle DeBow, Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I enjoy some of her stuff. There's certain authors and certain things that will intrigue me with YA, but in general, my reading has slowly shifted from YA. I don't read that much YA anymore, but when someone told me Alexis Henderson had a new book out, I was going to read it regardless. So this is When I Was Death. Does it give an actual day when it comes out? It's depicted as Final Destination meets House of Hollow. Follows Rosalind. Rosalind's been grieving since she found out a year ago that her sister was found dead in the woods, and she hasn't been knowing how to cope with this loss and with this grief. One day she meets a group of girls that her sister was hanging around with, and she joins them to try and find a connection with her sister who's no longer here. And she finds out that these girls have had their life spared by death, and that they must kill on death's behalves and reap people's souls. And she goes out on a journey and kind of tries to figure out why her sister would be drawn into a group like this, and how did her sister die. And I always find Alexis Henderson has such interesting looks on life and death in all of her books. So I'm really, really intrigued to see how she does this. It's again also quite a short book. I'm quite surprised, but I trust Alexis Henderson, and I think this is going to be really, really good. I am very intrigued, and I can't wait to read it. We really have a very dark theme, death theme happening in this TBR for February, where normally I'm like, oh, sunshine and rainbows and romance. Here it's just death and trauma and tragedy. But the next book we're going to read is The Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. This is the second novel I think Andrew Joseph White wrote. This is out of the 3 kind of YA adjacent books that Andrew Joseph White has brought out. This is the one that I'm most looking forward to. I can't remember what it's called, Hell Followed With Us a couple of years ago for the YA book group I ran, and that was before it shifted into sci-fi fantasy, and I really enjoyed the horror elements of that, and I'm really, really intrigued about this one just because the other book has a post-apocalyptic vibe, which I don't mind post-apocalyptic books, but this is set in the Victorian times, and that is where my interests lie more than post-apocalyptic settings, right? So this follows Silas. Silas is a trans boy living in London in 1883 and has just failed to escape an arranged marriage where he is sent off to a finishing school for young women. He's trans, so already not looking great. And he's sent off to a finishing school for girls, specifically because he's been diagnosed with veil sickness, a mysterious disease sending violet-eyed people into madness. Means that these people with violet eyes can commune with the spirits of the dead. He goes to school absolutely fucking hating it, but then he starts seeing the ghosts of missing girls in this school and decides that what he's going to do is get revenge or find out the reasoning for the deaths of these girls and really just get into the guts and the gore of this school and find out what's going on. Now, I love a mystery. I love a mystery. You all know I love a mystery. We all know I love a horror mystery, and I love a horror fantasy. I love all of that. I love historical horror. I love mystery. I will be honest, when I read this, I thought it was a hospital, because I read sanatorium. So it's slightly a hospital. I was thinking more hospital than school, because I don't really care for academia settings anymore. I'll be completely honest. I'm kind of over it. So I did go into this thinking it was more of a kind of mental institution, as they would call it back in the day. And it isn't. It isn't. It's more of an academia one. But I still think I'm going to really enjoy it. I love mystery. I do, Girls go missing in a kind of hospital academia setting. Ghosts. It sounds great. It sounds great. So this is what I'm going to be reading. Super dark for February, but who cares? Then we have, I think kind of like what people have been going on about is the debut of the year. I'm reading this a month earlier than I normally would. This actually comes out in April of this year. This is Yesteryear by Caro Burke, known as The Stepford Wives Meets The Handmaid's Tale. I was sent this by the publisher, obviously, because it comes out in April, but I was so intrigued by this premise, and I think it's very much on, what did it say? Finger on the pulse of what's going on at the moment. And this follows Natalie. Natalie is one of those social media stars, social media influencers that promotes the trad wife aesthetic. She's got a super handsome cowboy husband. She's got beautiful kids. She bakes on a, perfect stove. Everything's homemade. There's no additives. There's no yada, yada, yada. We'll just forget the fact that there's producers behind her every move and cameras and actual nannies and chefs, like we forget about that. But then randomly one day she wakes up and something has shifted and she's not sure what it is. Her family's the same, her husband's the same, but something's off. And basically what I think it is this person who's been promoting this trad wife aesthetic is now actually going to realize the true situation and the true reality of what being a trad wife is. When you strip away all the kind of aesthetic of it, what does it mean to live in a house where you are there to cook, clean, and look after the kids, and that's it? She isn't sure whether it's a reality show, time travel, a test from God. She's not sure. I really think, especially with the rise of conservatism that we have going on right now, a book like this is very much needed. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I've heard nothing but amazing things. I think I'm torn between reading this and Holy Boy next, because both of these sound really, really interesting, and I'm really into this kind of psychological look into kind of modern society elements. So Sesung fans in the K-pop world and the trad wives that are on social media and stuff. And yeah, is it going to be like the Truman Show? I don't know, but I'm really, really looking forward to reading this. I think it's already been picked up for a movie with like Anne Hathaway or something. But yes, I'm very, very excited to read this. It's very on kind of political trend at the moment, if you know what I mean. But yeah, there we go. And last but not least, because we do have to leave this video on a slightly cheerier tone, we have Tusk Love. I am finally getting around to reading Tusk Love. This is also my 26 in 2026. Tusk Love is a romantasy following a merchant woman and the half-orc bodyguard that she hires to help protect her wares when she's going on the road to sell her wares, sell her items, and the romance that blossoms between them. The reason I'm so excited to read this is, one, I've heard great things, but there is so much fun and exciting context behind this book, which I am going to repeat. This is published by Darrington Press, which is a small publisher connected to Critical Role. Critical Role is predominantly a Dungeons and Dragons live streaming business that has a bunch of well-known voice actors who every week sit down at a table and play Dungeons and Dragons, and that has then become a massive, massive world with interweaving campaigns and interweaving characters. And one of the characters in one of the campaigns, her name is Jester, she would speak about throughout the campaign her love for the book Tusk Love and the spicy romance in it. And it was like this ongoing running joke about how she loved this book and wanted to meet this author. And now this book exists. Now there is an actual book inspired by the character Jester. I cannot wait to read this. Heard really good things. One of my friends, Surika, absolutely loved this book. She was talking about him when we were at Cheltenham. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I think this will be really good, and I think it's a nice little cheery difference to what seems to be death and tragedy that is plaguing my February TBR. What I want from romantasy, I kind of want less, I'm the chosen one and me and my dark enemy must save the kingdom. I kind of don't want that. Like, I think what I like about romances quite a lot of the time is I literally just finished Tessa Bailey's Catch Her If You Can, which is club owner and baseball player who've been friends forever finally admit their feelings for each other. So I just like the idea of bodyguard and merchant. And I'm not saying all the cutesy ones like I run a coffee shop, I run a bookshop and we fall in love. That's overdone. Overdone, and also 9 times out of 10 kind of boring. I think this is a little bit more interesting. So I want more books like this. But yes, that's it. That's my February TBR. I'm very excited. I think it's a very dark TBR for February. But that's how the winter is making me feel at the moment. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this. I think this is going to be a very solid TBR for for February. As I said, I can't remember how many 5 stars I had in January, but like I think half of what I read in January were 5-star reads, and I hope to continue that going in. I know there's a lot of people that's like, I rarely give out 5 stars. If the book's good, I'm giving it 5 stars, okay? But yep, I'm very excited to jump into February. I think I'm going to start Yesteryear first when I get on the bus later today. But yeah, I'm very, very excited. It's going to be fun. And then I'll update you in a month's time and see how we do. But yeah, while we do that, please like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And I want to do more reading vlogs, so hopefully maybe this will show up. Who knows? But see you later.